Happy Valentine's Day 20. Oh, I'm sorry. Sleeping? You and your Valentine have a good time tonight? Happy Valentine's Day. Sorry. Y'all had a good time tonight, go to dinner. Got a little frisky after. Nice. Is your Valentine sleeping? Well, all right, ladies. Let's talk football. No, let him sleep. This is fine. Hey, welcome to a cup of Ray down here, out in front of the brass captain across the street from the saltwater hippie. And I apologize. I'm not going to drop any more time because I got a special guest. This is so discombobulated. They're like, you're going to go on and talk ball on Valentine's Day. I'm like, half of these views are going to maybe come in the morning, so we're going to try to keep it safe for work. I'm saying that at the top of the show. You got the Ray guarantee. Going to try to keep this safe for work. But welcome to my show tonight. I'm so happy to have this guy. We've been trying to line this up. It was through the holidays and family time, and he was a little busy in February, late February. There, he'll probably share that with us exactly why he was busy. And we've been trying to put this together for a few weeks. And I got this cat tonight and bring him in right now because we want to talk about your Buccaneers. Welcome to the show from Buck What You Heard, Mr. Gene Thomas. Gene, you there?
Yo, man, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. We got this. We did this, right?
All right. I love it.
Hey, brother, thanks for coming in. Can we just get right to it? I'll come out of left field. I'll start with an easy question, and we'll get to the rest of the issues. Lavonte David, free agent, Nebraska linebacker, 12th year, going on 13. The only Buccaneer currently on the roster to have actually worn the creamsicles that the Bucs will wear again in 2023. Got to be on this team, right? Got to make this work, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He is an integral part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I look at him and Mike Evans along the same lines.
Veterans on a team. And here's the thing with this Buccaneers team. So we kind of like that's as easy transitory question as it gets, my brother. But I wanted to jump right in this. The quarterback issue. We haven't seen anything from Kyle Trask. I mean, we went from the greatest of all time, 3 years, back-to-back NFC South championships, of course, the Super Bowl in 2020, 55. And all of a sudden now it's Kyle Trask. You've heard it out there. You've talked with people on your shows about this. What are your thoughts as far as what the Buccaneers need to do to address this quarterback issue?
Right now, from what I understand, it sounds like Tampa may be eating the whole Tom Brady's salary right now. So I think that's the logical move would be to go with the Kyle Trask and bring him in. Um, you're talking about a head coach, which a lot of fans, I would say the majority of fans, aren't sure what you have with a Todd Bowles. And I think the fact that Todd Bowles, there's some uncertainty here. I think that kind of factors into why you haven't seen an offensive coordinator pulled in just yet. I'm sorry, I just it's kind of weird the way the whole season went, and I think that's something that they're going to have to really address to moving forward.
How's the heart there, Gene?
Uh,
I heard the people. Hey, I heard
yeah.
someone today actually, and I don't know. Tell me if you've heard this out there, because Buck fans were passionate, and everyone's out there. We go from what's never happened in team history, and all of a sudden now with the vacuum at the quarterback position, your leadership position, going from no matter who was going to come after Tom Brady was going to come into the shadow of the great son that was Tom Brady and his time here. I saw someone today that actually said that if Todd Bowles, he timed it like this: Kyle Trask starts, Todd Bowles doesn't have success, there's a chance that Todd Bowles, Jason Light are both fired after the season. There's people like that. Are they just fanatics? Are they the fringe, Gene?
I'm going to say they are. I think Jason Light has done a great job. He's progressively gotten better, and we know that he does draft in a vacuum. So whatever his selections are is what his selections are. I think he's done great. He's had misses, but what general manager hasn't had misses? I mean, and I'm going to give you a good example. The New England Patriots. You look at their draft picks, and you look at how much draft picks factor into their team, and that just kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. I think that Jason Light has done a great job,
Yes,
to provide talent for whichever head coach he's had, and it's really interesting how his timeline parallels with Rich McKay's in a way.
And you know, the funny thing is, okay, so first draft pick in team history under Jason Licht, Mike Evans, and then we go over the years. Of course, 2015, the entire world. Don't tell me it was 7, or at the time it was 32 teams, right? Don't tell me it was 16-16 that it was Jameis Winston or Marcus Mariota. Jameis Winston was the fan-on favorite that entire year, and to this day, I still pose that Jameis has had the better career, even though the other side of the stat sheet shown that. But here's, oh my gosh, I forgot the question. Wait, no, no, I'm sorry. I got it. It's been a long day, brother. Thanks. And by the way,
no worries.
Happy Valentine's Day to you. I appreciate you coming in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Here's the thing with the whole, and I'm not trying to make an argument for Jason Licht. I'm just saying that I think some people realize that he's a draft evaluator. He was actually worked for a draft scout or scouting agency, and that's the way he came up through the ranks and up through the New England ranks in Miami and working for the scouting services. The guy does know talent, and that's why I work it back to everybody's. Here's the thing: we had Tom Brady quarterback. He's the greatest of all time. Super Bowl, 8. They threw away that pick at number 2. Dan Mullen, who, by the way, Dan Mullen, where's his career now? He worked strings with Kyle. Kadarius Toney, Pitts, the way Kyle Trask stepped into that role and led there, he's been a good evaluated talent, but there's still people that are out there that are just, he's trash because he never dressed. Do you have another angle as to the reason why Kyle Trask never dressed in front of a Blaine Gabbert throughout the entire 2022 season?
They didn't need him to. There was no need for him to. If you look at it this way, I mean, it is such a steep drop off from Tom Brady to Blaine Gabbert. And it's like, why this guy's a rookie? Let him, just get all the mental reps he can. Great, and I'm not comparing him to Mahomes, but Mahomes didn't see he didn't play much his first season in the NFL.
Alex Smith is there. They had a plethora of quarterbacks. Leo Word.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There you go. And so again, we don't know. You kind of have to trust the process and see what you have with the Kyle Trask. I think if there was, I mean, if you look at all the free agent quarterbacks that are out there, they're just it's just a steep drop off from Tom Brady. I don't think there's going to be anybody out there that's going to be somebody that you can bring in and say, okay, I feel comfortable.
Well, I'm sorry, bro. I'll flip it on that. So, like, you go from a Tom Brady, and you talk about that vacuum, and we talk about that divide from Tom Brady and like the rest of the all mortal quarterbacks. And the funny thing is that now you go from having a quarterback who pulled the team as a leader. Now you've got a team that played with the GOAT, and you got a guy that stood for 2 years behind him and learned from the GOAT. And now you lean back, and now it's time for the other players, the other leaders on this team to step up and bury the lead. We got a deep depth of talent at defense and offense, starting at right tackle, going through Devin Smith and trying to keep Levante David, but the back end, Jamal Dean, Murphy Bunting, who knows? But now it's time for these guys to be leaders on this team, and that could also help a young quarterback like Kyle Trask play on a defensive-minded team under Todd Bowles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. I just from what I've seen from Todd Bowles, we need to see more. We need to see this team coming together, overcoming adversity. The Bucs basically backed into the playoffs, and
it still hurts. We haven't talked since then, so go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Tampa played like a team that didn't have weapons. And I'm baffled by it all. And I know a lot of people are trying to give Byron Leftwich a pass, but there was just so much the way the game was called. There were times where you look at the flow of the game, and there are certain play calls that I'm like, wow, he dialed that up.
You made a point there. Oh, I'm sorry. You made a point there though, because you made a point there to talk about all the stars. And the way that I want to say they played with the lack of shallowness, if you will. 11 days dealing with some real stuff. That's the guy. The sun comes from him. Everybody else kind of was like, we're going to try this again. And let's be honest, after winning Super Bowl 55 and then making it to the divisional rounds in 2021, maybe not asking a team that would have needed to have leadership show up because of the Tom Brady vacuum, like you mentioned, that they didn't step up like that. And this team came a little bit to the back of the pack, but the truth of the matter is you get those other leaders on this. I'm just rambling on and on here, but I'm saying is that we saw that. We saw Mike Evans. Let's be honest. The play of the year that showed how lack of focus this Buccaneers team is last season was Mike Evans' big drop there in Carolina at Bank of America Stadium, right, against the Panthers. And it's not a knock on Mike. Still had his fantastic season, and he is the best receiver on this team. Truly believe it still. We can fight about how great Chris Godwin is and doing the dirty stuff over the middle. But when he drops that ball in Carolina, that to me was a microcosm of the entire season as far as lack of attention when needed. Still played pretty good in a lot of places, but when really needed most, lack of attention.
Yeah, but I think that there's enough blame to go around for the whole team.
Yeah, there is. No, that's just the stars.
Yeah. I mean, you know, whether it's special teams, whether it's been defense, we've seen the Tom Brady's first year where they had a drop in I don't know what it was, but they weren't focused like they normally are. For whatever reason, they after that Chicago Bears game, they brought things around, and then after the bye week, they brought things around again, and they were able to really progress and get to the Super Bowl. The next year, you saw something similar, you know, with the loss to the Rams. And then they turned it around and they got things right. And I don't know. I don't feel like they've really, you know, this year, I don't feel like it was all there. It wasn't the same team. And, you know, a lot of people say it's Bruce Arians. A lot of people don't. I just feel like if you're the head coach, you know, I know they're grown men and they should be able to come out and play.
You're saying all the right things, Gene. I mean, you're saying all the right things. Yes.
But I just don't feel like Todd Bowles is that guy. I mean, I don't care who you talk to, and I'm hope he proves me wrong. Yes. I really do. He's an incredible defensive coordinator. I love his defensive play calling. But when it comes down, I mean, close your eyes and picture Todd Bowles, and can you see him hoisting a Lombardi trophy? Seriously,
no,
I mean,
now, Gene,
all joking
aside. No, well, no. You know what?
All joking aside. I mean, and I want you to look top to bottom at this team, and I realize that this isn't his team. This is going to be his season to prove me and everybody else wrong.
Gene, now here's the thing. I hear this about Todd Bowles. Now, you and I, we've heard the stories, we've read the stories, we've heard the euphemisms that you know, he's so stoic on the sidelines, but he can really
it has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with that. I think it's more internal, it's more intangible is kind of the things that I'm talking about.
Well, here's the thing though. The reason why I understand we got his coaching history in New York when the general manager was
you have to throw that out the window. We're talking about the level of talent that he has on the team.
Yes.
And what you do with what you
Gene,
have.
here's the thing. What happened in 2022? Literally 5 minutes before the season, Tom Brady comes back. Arians stepped aside. Todd's, it's yours. I completely agree with this transition. I agree. There was no way in heck. And I'm saying, if he would have selected Byron Leftwich over Todd Bowles, I would have went, okay, let's see. Jason Light's in the room. We talked about his talent evaluation. But here's the thing. Todd Bowles gets this team completely with Bruce Arians' staff, even though they've all been friends since 1945. But Todd Bowles has said, look, run your defense, but remember who you got at quarterback and be simpatico with them. Because let's be honest, that was one of the biggest disappointments for me of the entire season. I'm glad we had a chance to talk tonight, team, by the way. Valentine's Day. But biggest disappointments for me was the times when when Tom Brady tries to wave Todd Bowles off against the Saints and Todd Bowles says, get your butt to the sideline. It's 4th down. We're punting. We punt it. The defense stops and we get the ball back and we score and we walk off basically almost. And here's the thing. There were other games where stuff happened and we were like, whoa, Todd Bowles did not make that call, right? Byron Leftwich was doing a chalkboard or had an Etch-a-Sketch and Tom Brady and him were trying to figure something out. And my thing is, I think we see Todd Bowles establish his leadership of the team as he does now, and the coaching he changes. And let's be honest, we don't know who it's going to be. I'd like to see Keenan McCardell. Here's the thing. He's a fan favorite for me, and he's with Minnesota, and he saw that dynamic offense they're running up there, and the success they had that they didn't have a defense, which, by the way, now they're going to because they're going to hire Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator. Okay, Minnesota's number 1 in NFC North next year. I can call that right now. And here's the thing. that now you put a narrative of a Kyle Trask at quarterback, a defensive-minded team with, let's be honest, there's a lot of veterans on this team, but most of them are, or most of the big ones are on the defensive side. And now you got a quarterback's third year in, but he's going to make those mistakes, but you're going to play enough. And I think you can inspire 52 or 53 in the room. Gene, do you think that way?
Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. You're talking about, Kyle Trask here, who, if he can stay out of his own way and, not cause the turnovers, that's going to be the key right there.
That's so true. No, that's so true. But here's the thing. Okay. He's a rookie quarterback, but he had 2 years. He ran a scout team against the best defense, or I think one of the top 5 defenses over that 3-year span in the NFL, or the 2 years. But now he comes in, and even, the good teams, the real defensive-minded championship teams, a team like the 2000 Baltimore Ravens that had Trent Dilfer at quarterback to win that Super Bowl. Hey, brother, have a great evening. Happy Valentine's Day to you all. I'm out in front of the brass captain again here tonight, but that type of team steps in and they cover for their quarterback's mistakes.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I went full screen on you, Gene. You know
No,
what?
you're
We
good,
kind of
you're good.
I worked
now there.
Peter Blake, thank you, my brother. Of course.
Don't worry, I'm producing. Hello, Gene. What's going on?
How's it going, man?
What's going on?
Good.
All right.
Jump in this, Pete. What do you think?
Give out the phone line there. Take some calls. I'm going to let you guys do your thing.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
Phone line is open. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Get on the lines here. Talk with Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. And of course,
Peter, hold on.
Yes.
This is your page, and these are your fans. I'm just fortunate enough to be in your media or in your dust of your whatever. Can you read these comments for me? Most of these there's are for you anyway, Pete.
All right, I will read the comments here. So.
Oh yes. Oh, there's this pretty. There's okay. Hey, just keep your clothes on because you're coming in and out. So, Gene, before he comes back in, here we go. Go ahead, Peter.
He's off. Where did he go?
I don't hear him.
What was your question?
Oh, my question was working it back. Did you see the chat? I do this. You know how I do, Gene. We've done this once or twice. We've been to this dance. The 2022 team, did you see times where it looked like there was a defensive-minded coach making decisions and there was a time where there was just nobody making decisions, which leads me to believe it was from the other side? And that was what Todd Bowles was kind of left with that year. Is, that's kind of a setup for failure in some cases.
I felt like Todd Bowles, there were times where Todd didn't have confidence in Brady. There were times where, you got to put the ball in his hands. He's a veteran. We didn't see that 2-minute drill that we've come accustomed to see with Tom Brady here at Tampa. There were a lot of times where I felt like they played not to lose instead of going out there and trying to win. You didn't see the no risk and no biscuit at all this year. It was more let's do everything we can to preserve a win instead of let's go out there and try to get the win.
Damn, Gene. You know what? Now that you say that, I mean, you're so right about the that's so weird. I thought about it this way, saw what was going on with Tom Brady, realized it was his uncomfortability in the pocket, being that he was the best mental quarterback over a 23-year span in the history of the league, which made him the greatest of all time in the history of the league. And he had a year. And here's the thing. I never thought about it was they had no lack of faith in him. I just completely thought that they were just like, well, it's still Tom Brady. Let's just throw everything at the wall.
Well, there were times where you could have gone 2-minute drill. There were times where you could have gone, you could have speeded up the game a little bit and taken the offensive coordinator out of the factor and just kind of put it in Tom's hands in certain series. And, that's where you're putting your defense on your opposing defense on their heels. We didn't see a lot of that. And again, it's just it was a very disappointing season. I understand the injuries. Totally get the injuries.
Yes.
But a real a really good offensive coordinator, head coach, they are able to look at the players that they have and play to their strengths. And we just didn't see that. We saw somebody that had a game plan, and we were going with this game plan regardless of who's out there, who's injured, who's not injured, and we're just going to roll with that.
Hey, Gene,
and that's kind of what I saw.
Yeah, and with the running game, I mean, like I felt so like I always said if they just would throw it outside, they'd run a 27 pitch or a 28 pitch to soften up the defense. And there were times where we saw this team run. Oh, I'm sorry. We actually saw this team. Sorry, something going on. There's some lady down here. We actually saw this team. Oh, excuse me. There's cops pulling up now. Where are we at, Gene? Pull it back for me. I'm sorry.
No, honestly though, I felt like they just did not. They were playing not to lose, and I would argue that with anybody. I mean, that's you've got a complement of wide receivers. You've got Chris Godwin, and I realized Chris Godwin wasn't 100% all season, and
Right.
Coming back from a catastrophic injury that he had. We saw him probably on the back quarter of the season where he started to look like Chris Godwin. And, congratulations to Mike Evans and the way he played. Mike Evans really looked, he looked good, playing the season. Normally you see that hamstring injury or something would really affect him, but he was one of the staples for the Bucks this year. And I expected more from a Chris Godwin. I expected more from Julio Jones, who was injured. So, I mean, again, you've got a complement of weapons at your disposal. And when they are available, we just didn't see them being utilized like, we know that they could be used.
You go back to Byron Leftwich's and Bruce Arians' time. Even out in Arizona, even with Carson Palmer and having a success and doing the great things that Bruce Arians did out there. And then when they come here, this Buccaneers, this no risk it, no biscuit offense, that was one of the most disappointing things. I didn't see it as much at first because we came from the Dirk Cotter near risk it, no biscuit, but Jameis was it. But so this offense just never did have a running game. Have you done any homework as to which of these offensive coordinators the Bucs are looking at would come in here and give this offense team a chance to find a running game and a running style with the current offensive line we have, which not that bad if healthy, and maybe a young quarterback like Kyle Trask?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know who's available. It always takes two when you talk about bringing an offensive coordinator. They've got to want to come here. And so, like I said, with the situation the way it is, I mean, I'm sorry, but Todd Bowles is not a lot. I mean, I'm sure he'll have a couple of seasons or whatever. He's not on that long leash where he's going to have opportunity after opportunity to do what he needs to do. But I really feel like, for an offensive coordinator, do you come here and it's a possibility that your coach may not be here the next year or within the next 2 years.
That is so tough. No, I was going to say that. I'm sorry, brother. No, I was going to say that's why I said if they were going to go that route, they were going to have to get, somebody who you're really giving them their big break, right? And there's not all these guys there, and Keenan McCardell again. The reason why I like him, he just has the tie-in, and he's been and he understands. But there's also, and I'm sorry I don't know his name, but I was reading about this guy over the weekend, the running backs coach from the Detroit Lions, who was there with the how they found that offensive success this season. What's that?
Scotty Montgomery.
And there's one of the guys that they have interviewed for this, and that's one of the potentials. And you tell me he's a running game coordinator who's just spent a couple of years on what they're doing there in Detroit and the offensive success. Throw it with that Buccaneers defense, throw it all in a hat and shake it up, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you get an offensive coordinator that could potentially be a head coach, or do you blow this all up if it doesn't work? I mean, there's so many. I don't know. I've got so many ideas in my head. I honestly don't know. I've kind of just decided I'm going to sit back and see how everything kind of plays out. But honestly, with the head coach situation, with the disappointment that was 2022, I don't know what to expect, to be very honest, man.
Now here's the thing. Me, 2019 Creative Loafing, best local columnist. Just a shameless plug there on Valentine's Day. But I love a story. I love a narrative, and I think Peter, he's like in another time zone. And that's why the sound effects are so late. But we still appreciate and love you, Peter. But here's the thing. Now you made me forget. What was I saying, Gene?
2019 Creative Loafing.
2000. Yeah.
Oh no, I like a story. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. I like a story. I like a narrative, right? And I think that it wouldn't be hard to sell. I mean, we're not interviewing Matt Nagy, who, after winning the Super Bowl, I'm just kidding, just to bust Harry the Greek chops. But these guys were not selling. You're selling Tampa Bay. It's Tampa Bay. I'm out here on a beautiful. I could be in a tank top right now. You got the Buccaneers. You got a great defense. You got an organization committed to winning. How desperate? How hard is it to make that sell?
Again, how long would they be here? And
Ouch, yes, dang it.
And I keep coming back to I keep coming back to that, man, is that, is Todd Bowles going to be here 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or is he going to be here 1 year? And
yes.
I don't know how this is all going to play out. And that's the thing I go back and forth about.
Peter, you're still in here. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you, yeah.
You've heard so many people, and I appreciate your brother again. Thanks for being in here.
Yes.
You've heard so many people. They're like, the quarterback, and then David Carr cut today, and you heard, that's the contract. They actually wait, and they actually cut him off the team. Free agent now.
They had to.
I do that every time, don't I, Pete? Derek Carr.
Yes.
They had to.
Yes,
but they're still Bucks.
$40 million, because if they didn't cut him today, then it would have counted $40 million versus that Raiders cap. So of course they had to cut him. And there's been talk about him, possibly doing a free agent visit. He's already done one to New Orleans, possibly Carolina. I still think Tampa Bay is in that mix, even though a lot of people say, well, they got cap hell. Okay. Bucks
cap
fans,
is a myth.
Right. Exactly. You know what the cap is like? Let me come on screen here. You know what the cap is like? The cap is like the national deficit, right? We always talk about the national deficit, and nothing ever happens. The government still runs. Everybody's good. We still get up in the morning. It's the same exact thing. The Saints have been in cap hell the last 5 to 10 years, and yet they're still able to go out and sign free agents. So if the Glazers and the
Bucks Pete,
feel like this team is still going to be playoff competitive, don't rule it out. That's all I have
Pete,
to say.
You just made a great point. The Saints, Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston, the Red Rocket, and the Red Rocket wasn't bad, but getting those deals, but especially this last season and the problems they had. I mean, even a Saints team, Dennis Allen and that Saints defense they play and how they dominated the South over the last 15 years, even they have to do a quarterback checkup from the neck up year once in a while, right?
Absolutely. Okay. And at the end of the day, I mean, what's a better situation than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I got to get my other light here, so it's a little bit dark over here. So you have to excuse it because I got the plug actually plugged into something else I didn't anticipate. But what's a better situation than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I mean, I feel like people forget about this. What is it, 3 years removed from a Super Bowl championship? You still have Chris Godwin. You still have Mike Evans at the end of the day. You have Leonard Fournette and Rashard White. It's not like they don't have weapons, and they still have a defense. So people are acting like, this team is old and decrepit. And no, Brady was on the team. How about this possibility? Maybe Brady was just a little bit long in the tooth. This team is still young. They do have some veteran leadership. How about go out and get a quarterback that's a little bit more mobile? That's why
Peter
circling back. Hold on.
But
I keep on circling back to Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo and players like that. People keep on saying, well, they're too much. They're going to be too much money. Let them handle that. They're capologists for a reason. I can't even balance my checkbook. I'm not going to try to bring it balance.
No, hey, Peter, that sounds that I'm not gonna run you under the carpet on that one. But Gene, you're talking about a Bucks team in 2020. And then the big thing in 2021 was we're bringing the whole gang back. And then in 2022, it was like, it's not the whole gang. There's been a lot of stuff, Marpet, and I mean, we can go on and on. But the fact of the matter is this team now, with especially 21 free agents, a lot of them didn't get a whole lot of playing time. Some of them, they've been big contributors to this team. You got to take care of that as well. So that depth, why would you spend over $10 million for a veteran quarterback when you may have so many holes trying to hire a $10 million quarterback? You lose the chance to have success.
Well, I think after the whole Tom Brady salary is taken care of this year, I think they're going to be in amazing shape going into 2024. Again, there's so many different scenarios out there. Why not see what you have with the Kyle Trask this year? And because you're not going to be able to bring everybody back if you're setting yourself to have a healthy salary cap moving forward. So. Again, there's so many different scenarios out there, and I'm at a point right now where I want to sit back and see what Jason Light does. Jason Light has not, I know a lot of people want to knock him for Roberto Aguayo. People still bring that up.
You were talking about who doesn't?
Just still bring that up for no reason. And when you look at what he's done over his body of work, like I mentioned this before, his career parallels with Rich McKay with better success with the salary cap, because you look at Rich McKay, and Rich McKay brings in Sam Weish, from Sam Weish to Tony Dungy, from Tony Dungy to John Gruden, and then when McKay goes over to Atlanta, he pretty much left Tampa in salary cap hell. Then you look at Jason Light.
Bruce Allen did though too. That was it, right?
But that's another monster right there.
And he was a bad evaluator of talent. Yeah. I mean, Peter,
he was horrible.
He
was horrible. Now, to finish up the second part of what I was saying.
I'm sorry, brother.
Jason Light, and Lovie Smith came in together. Then from Lovie Smith, it was Dirk Cutter, and from Dirk Cutter to Bruce Arians, and you saw that, in both of those scenarios, the Super Bowl came to Tampa. And I think, with what Jason Light started with, the cupboard was bare. And what he built up to where he is, where we are now, is the level of talent that he brought in is what drew Bruce Arians. It's what drew a lot of these coaches here. It's what, and Bruce Arians is what drew Tom Brady here, as his final decision. So, again, we kind of have to trust the process here, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, you got to get an offensive coordinator first. And, at the end of the day, a lot of people say, well, they got 21 free agents. Okay, well, the majority of those free agents shouldn't be brought back, because this team, at the end of the day, underachieved. They only had 8 wins last year. So, I'm not going to lose sleep over losing the majority of these guys, because more than likely they don't fit in this system in the first place. So we'll see how it works. But here's the thing. I got faith in Jason Light. I got faith in this organization, namely because of that 2020 year, right? They win the Super Bowl. Everybody says, well, they can't sign Gronk because they don't got the cap. Well, they signed Gronk. Well, they can't sign Leonard Fournette because they don't got the cap.
Peter, can I ask you a question real quick, though?
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
If I don't ask this, I'm going to forget this thought, because you guys know how I am, so I apologize.
Yeah.
You can say, no, I want to say in 3-way, because I'm asking Gene Thomas this first, but then I'm going to go ahead and say, Gene, if you don't know the answer to this, that's why I kept Peter in here. He's the thesaurus. Rich McKay was general manager of this team, and was Hardy Nickerson his first big free agent signing, I think?
No, I think it was prior. Hardy was before.
I know, but 92, right?
I think.
I'm sorry.
That's a great point. Let me go.
I just had that thought. Brother, thank you. Yes.
I think it is.
Because, Gene, you dropped one. You dropped a bomb there. I want to say bomb. There's so many police officers around. You dropped a solid point there. The Jason Light comparisons, and I'm not saying he's even. I thanked Rich McKay the other day when Rondé Barber was announced on the NFL honors. I didn't even ask you about that, Gene. I cried. I mean, happy tear. It wasn't like I was bawling, but I said thank you. I actually texted to Rich McKay, and of course, Tim and I don't talk, so he didn't answer back. But I said thank you.
Rich McKay was here in '94, so I don't believe he signed Hardy. Hardy was in '93, I believe, from Pittsburgh. Gene. So Rich wasn't, but. Rich did a great job of building that team. He did it differently, and look, everybody's like, well, all you have to do is do it in the draft. No, that's the reason why you have free agency in the first place, because if you do mess up in the draft, which we know that Jason Light does, every general manager messes up in the draft. He's turned the page, of course, on Roberto Aguayo. He's turned the page on Alston Severian Jenkins and Charles Sims. He's turned the page on plenty of players. Noah Spence comes to mind. You know what? Again, that's why you have free agency. That's why you also have trades. So everybody's saying the sky is falling because we're in cap hell. Relax. The Saints have been in cap hell for the last 5 years, and they've been.
Hold on. Yes. Let me ask you. I'm sorry, Gene. Let me ask you this. You're talking about. Oh, no, I've lost it. Go ahead. Okay. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
Did it again. Let's go back out to the comments here. Let's go out to Roger Shue says first. Let's acknowledge me. Let's go out to Roger. Good evening, Ray. Where's Peter? Right here. I told you. Troy says this is Plus Peter's show. Be quiet, Troy. This is Peter's show. Okay.
This guy sucks.
Troy again. Where is he at?
Hey, Peter, you know what scares me about this? What scares me?
Yes.
What scares me about this, Peter, is all these people came in here tonight and they thought they were going to see you, and it's late. It's Valentine's night and it's late. They were already in an amorous mood. I'm not sure where this might go, my friend.
Cheers, Ray. We hope you find shelter for these cold nights. I mean,
This guy sucks.
I'm going to give you a Tom Brady.
That's good enough to suck right there.
Let's go to Roger Shoe. Troy needs to acknowledge me. Peter, are you jumping on the show? Here I am waiting for Ray to get the ticket for lootering. F5U, Roger. Again, Mike Evans to the Bears. I'm going to tell you right now, Roger,
Mike
now,
Evans to the Bears.
That's complete nonsense.
This guy sucks. That's good enough to suck right there.
Because it cost the Bucs a $21 million cap hit. They're not going to trade Mike Evans, one of their best franchise offensive players in history, to the Chicago Bears.
You guys, do you scare me though? Because the Chris Godwin contract, because of his success, because of what he is, a wide receiver one behind a wide receiver one. I'm just laying down facts here. And you think of a Chicago team that's going to draft the world. They're going to trade back and get 55 other draft picks, and your coach, and they're going to continue making. They're going to get a defensive rusher, and now you're like, guys, haven't we seen this narrative before? A.J. Brown, or before a wide receiver they locked down. Where was the big free agent signing offseason? It was that wide receiver one that we got that we got the success at the wide receiver position, opened everything else. Does that scare you guys? Does Chris Godwin have a contract they can move? I think the Bucs would get. They said, "Oh, you get a 2 for him." I said, "I don't know if a team's picking toward the back and the Bears pick up a bunch of draft picks and they're picking. They got Kansas City's pick. Maybe they
calm down. Say it with me. Take a deep breath.
I'm off on a run. Sorry.
Gene, you all right? You okay? You ready?
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Sorry, Gene.
Restructure. That's what it's called. So if the contract is up there with the terms that you're throwing out there, and I get it, people are like, well, they got to trade this guy. They got to trade this guy. No, they got to restructure. The players that are going to be on this team are going to be on this team. Donovan Smith, is there a possibility? Now go out to you really quick, Gene. Do you think there's a possibility that they could just outright cut this guy because of the way he played last year, whether he was injured, dealing with personal problems or not? I mean, that's where you would recoup some of this money, or once again, you could do a restructure.
Yeah, it's one or the other. He had a bad season. I know that he's dealing with an injury as well. So, but again, that's neither here nor there. It comes back to what Jason Light decides to do. But there is a distinct possibility that he could come back this year.
Yeah, and I think, again, there's a distinct possibility he could be cut, or they could restructure his contract.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly what they're going to look at the end of the day. They're going to all possibilities. I'll go back out to you, Tampa Bay, Ray. Restructure. Say it with me 3 times.
Wait, no.
Restructure.
Restructure. Now, Peter.
Yes.
We talk about restructure, but I heard something blasphemous today. I'm sorry, guys.
What was that?
I hit Gene up with this on the way down here, my friend, or maybe it was with Gene and James Canada.
That Kyle Trask isn't the greatest quarterback in Gator history.
He is. Kyle Trask, when Jason Light's career is done, will end up being his great. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm telling you.
What I'm saying.
Are you Trask one of one?
I am. Yeah. Hey, no, but. That was good, Gene. Levante David. Peter, Gene and I were talking about this. Levante David, you get the new players, you sign the free agents, the quarterback, what's going on, the OC. This team has to sign Levante David. Even after the kid says this week, I say kid, I'm like 106 years old, that he wants to have a Derek Brooks career, a Rondé Barber career, to finish it with the Buccaneers. And he gets to wear those creamsicles again. How awesome is that? And how much does it have to cost the Bucs? I say, if you can't sign a $10 million backup quarterback, or you can't get $18 million to flap it up, but you got to work on keeping a Levante David. I mean, he's not going to get $15-20 million. He's not going to become the $100 million linebacker, but Buccaneers have to make that a number one priority, right? I mean, just for karma's sake.
I don't think it's the number one priority. I definitely think it's a priority at the end of the day. I mean, it's going to depend on if he gets more money somewhere else, because at the end of the day, as much as we want Levante David to be in a Bucs uniform for the rest of his career, he may get more money somewhere else and get an opportunity to chase the title. So I definitely think it's a priority.
Yes.
I'll go on to you, Gene. I mean,
no, let me ask Gene this though.
Okay, go ahead.
The Atlanta Falcons, Arthur Smith hires a New Orleans Saints defensive coordinator now, and of course who the Panthers get? They just signed today. They got Dom Capers as an assistant or looking over. They got the other coach coming in there, and they got got a defensive coordinator. Would a team like that, what would the value of not only getting a great player like Levante David, but how much more in millions could it possibly be to have the guy who's been this defense or leader on this defense for 102 years, and now he's on your side, not only giving you all the secrets, but also giving you his game. That's Peter, I never thought about that. That makes it a completely different thing, doesn't it, Gene?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see that. Hey, anything's possible. I just don't see him being in the South. But again, I think the Bucks will at least entertain the idea of trying to keep him as a Buccaneer.
I think so too. Let's go back out to these comments here. Again, what you're watching is a Couple Ray, aka on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Best of the Bay, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, and Buck, which you heard.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to all.
Now, Gene, I initially said 15, 20, 25. If you got to go, I understand. I really totally appreciate you. But if you can stick around, we'll try to land this thing softly here.
Okay.
Yeah, because one of our good buddies, Jason Powers, is going to be on Spectrum Sports at 10:30.
Well, there you go. We got to get off here. So we got like 11. I only got 5 minutes of battery left. So, guys, how about you, Gene? What have your thoughts been, not just about the future for this Buccaneers team, but overall your thoughts about the entire 2022 season, looking back on it now? And, what would be, maybe if you could bring it down to one sentence or one word, maybe let's just call it one word. What one word would you use to describe the entire 2022 season overall? It's a crazy trade. It's a good question, right?
Underwhelming.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
I'm sorry.
Right there.
Yes.
I hate Philadelphia and I hate Kansas City. It was so disgusting just watching this whole thing line up. And again, one of those two teams had to win. It couldn't be a tie. So just from the way the Bucks performed all the way on to the Super Bowl, and thank you to the refs for screwing this game up. And I really believe that the NFL needs to look at this. Roger Goodell is fooling himself if he really believes that the referees are consistent. And all I'm asking for is consistency. And I know that we've talked about. I know people laugh about the XFL. I think the XFL had something really good with the transparency they have with their referees.
Replays, especially.
Yeah, and just the transparency. You could hear the refs talking to New York or talking to their sky judge. And these are the kind of things that the NFL needs to do in order to get back the integrity, because they've lost a lot of people have lost faith in the refs. I mean, the fact that, and Harry will back me up on this, the fact that you can bet on a team and it's factored in, you have to factor in the refereeing crew, says a lot about the game itself. It should never be that way, but it's kind of how it is.
All right, I tell you what, let's go out to the comments and then we'll get out of here. Let's go out to Roger Shoot. Damn it, talk baseball. We will eventually, my friend.
The Rays, pitchers, catchers reported today in Orlando over at the Mouse House.
Yes, they did. Ben Cornette says, let's see how Jason Light actually does. That now he doesn't have Brady. In fairness, Light as a GM, only one winning season before Brady. Arians came along. Light has had some hits in the draft with Evans, Marpet, Godwin, Vea, Carlton Davis. He's also had Bust, Jameis, entire 2016 draft. OJ Howard, he's been good with free agents, not named.
Wow.
Let's see how he really does with the draft now. Also, Shaq Barrett.
Wow, that was a lot.
And also trading for JPP with a third-round pick. So again, Jason Light built this. He says, read the dang comments. Show. Okay, well, I tell you what, there's YouTube chats out there, Troy. So if you want to contribute to that, we'll read your comments. Okay.
Nice. Yes, do it, Troy. Drop it.
Also, don't hate on Fred. He's royalty. He is. Jim says no trash. Troy, I read the comments. Fred and Fat Mike always read my comments. And Troy says Ray has to go charge his phone on the side.
That's the suck right there.
I'll tell you what, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up because I know you
all right.
Gene, go ahead and promote yourself here on Couple Ray on the Sports Web.
Gene, thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me on, guys. It's been a long time coming. This is really great to really get to talk with you guys about football.
Awesome.
You can find me on YouTube, Buck What You Heard. You can find me on Twitter at Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I'll follow you back.
All right, good stuff there, Gene Thomas. Buck, what you
Thank
heard?
you, Gene.
Course,
Thank you, sir.
Hi to Shooter and Stash.
We didn't even talk
Yeah.
Super Bowl. We didn't even talk Super Bowl, my friend. We didn't talk Gasparilla, so we're going to talk again real soon. Thanks for coming on,
we
brother.
definitely will, man. Definitely.
Yes. Take
All
care,
right.
Gene.
Gene Thomas,
All
thanks a lot. All right, good stuff there. Let's go out to us here. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Give me some final thoughts here, Mr. Ray Kennedy, Best of the Bay on Couple Ray.
You know, the thing I was thinking today most about, Pete, was just the 3 years to run any team of the 30, 31 or 30 other, because he played for New England and he came here and won a Super Bowl. Any team that would have had Tom Brady quarterback, we'd have gotten into that still Steve Jobs distortion reality field. And I'm not saying with gambling, legalized gambling and narratives and everything's about turnover. We're hiring and firing 20 coaches a year. We still have 37 unfilled offensive and defensive coordinator positions. I kid. But the fact of the matter is everybody's so quick to turn over. It's got to be now. And the thing is, you don't even have bowl games anymore. So we don't have the Rose Bowl. We don't have the Orange Bowl. We don't have the Cotton Bowl. We have a playoff system, and then we have everything else. Although I say that, and brother, you and I at the ReliaQuest this year was such an awesome thing, such a great time. And we realized that these bowl games are still fun to be a part of. My problem is that I just don't want to see people. First of all, I want to have positive vibes because I know we just came off the Tom Brady orbit, but I want to have positive vibes going into 2023. And I want to remember Jason Light. He's had not a lot of misses, but quite a few, but he's had a lot of great hits. And we can start talking 20, 30 years from now, the Hall of Famers he had over his time as general manager. I won't get there too soon.
Well,
maybe I'm.
Here's the thing. And again, people just keep on kind of glossing over this. But the fact of the matter is this team was built up to be a championship team because Tom Brady chose this team.
Yes.
So let's not forget about the fact that that organization over there knows what they're doing. Let's have faith. Let's see what they do in the offseason. Let's not jump to the conclusion that the sky is falling and that they're going to automatically give the job to Kyle Trask. And as I said, if they do that, then sure he could be as successful as possible. I don't see it happening.
Now here's the thing though.
Yes.
The narrative is that, let's be honest, Tom Brady got here, Mayor Castor in Tampa threw him out of a park because in the middle of a pandemic while the world is going to hell in a handbasket, he's practicing in the park. He's down at the golf down there and he's out in the rain, and Charles Barkley's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm winning championships or trying to win another one. And the thing, it took him to October to learn this offensive system. It took him till October of that year, and we know how Tom Brady was locking it down because his head was in the game, unlike it was a little bit mostly this year, but he had some real stuff going on. The fact of the matter is that, you had that attention to detail and you had that, and everybody, the biggest knock I've heard on Kyle Trask is that the Buccaneers never dressed him ahead of Blaine Gabbert. He couldn't even win the job from Blaine Gabbert. Well, it took Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, an entire year of full time and all the coaching to get this offense. I wasn't going to have Tom Brady back last year and then take a chance with the second round pick, especially when I can have another year to groom this kid. Yep. I'm not saying he's the guy. I'm saying let's all take a chance and see if he is the guy. He's got to be better than Daniel Jones.
Well, and if he's not the guy, I don't know. I think Daniel Jones right now is definitely going to be a commodity. It definitely improved his game when he cut down.
Is he the guy though? Is he? He's a guy, but Saquon Barkley.
He's right. He's a guy. So
he's not the guy.
He may be the guy with the New York Giants. He may be the guy with somebody else. Now we're going to definitely go to stage left here after this.
Sorry.
We'll go back to being Tampa Bay Cam Jordan.
This guy sucks.
Yeah, because Cam Jordan's won so many championships. He knows all about that. And let's go out to Jim here. Bring on Lamar Jackson. I think that's a pipe dream, although the Ravens have a new offensive coordinator and a Todd Monken. And there's certainly a possibility they could trade Lamar Jackson. So with that being
said, I just want to say, I got to say this, James Canada, he had a busy night because we know James Canada, number 98 in your program, number 1 in your heart, hosted a big game sports buzz and the Chop Shop. And I'm saying he actually just texted. He's like, "You still on?" Just a question mark. Like, really, you still on? Like, he'd come in. I'm out of battery, brother, and we've already taken up too much of your time tonight. If your Valentine is waking up, turn him back over. Turn him back over, ladies. Let him know you got a little football knowledge to drop on him that he thought he knew, and he did.
Enough of you tonight. So we're going to wrap this up. Thanks a lot to everybody out there. Tampa Bay Ray, Best of the Bay, for the great host there. Thanks to Gene Thomas of Buck.
That was so awesome, Peter. Thank you, my friend. Hey, can you go one screen on this real quick? And I appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Go for it.
So yeah, just you crazy night out here in Madeira Way. We have a lot of people having a great time down here out in front of the Brass Captain across the street from Saltwater Hippie. Thanks for coming in tonight. I know it's Valentine's Day, but there's just no more off season these days. But you know how I end every one of these, especially here on Valentine's Day 2023. Everyone needs to know someone cares tonight. You be the one, let them know. Thank you all so much. Happy Valentine's Day. Peter, thanks again. And of course, Gene Thomas from Buck What You Heard. Have a great evening, everybody.